What is going on, everybody? Today we're looking at the Mattel Masters of the Universe Origins Mattel Creation exclusive figures of Hurricane, Hordak, and Despara. So both of these look cool. Of course, we get Hordak. We've had Hordak before. This time it has like a vac metal gold chest plate, which looks really cool. Comes with spinning hand effects, so it has this weapon here. You can switch its hand out with some spinning weapons, so that'll look cool. And of course, his extra head, that looks really awesome too. That's a nice extra head. We get the picture there up top, so with the spinning blade. And if we spin around, you can kind of see it posed up there with a spinning like bola design. And some extra characters. Of course, there's our Despara and some other characters I'm not too familiar with, but there they are in the background. So that looks cool. And then we have Despara, which is actually She-Ra before she learned she was She-Ra. So of course I'll go into that story, but it looks pretty cool. You know, it looks very much like a Hordak character, just in a female form. So it looks pretty good there. It comes with two swords there in the back. We can spin around, see her fighting there against the Pit Warden. So it looks pretty cool with some Horde their characters there in the background. So overall looks cool for both of these figures, and they fit perfectly together. So let me go and get these open out of the box and we'll take a look at them together. So we're going to start off with the Hurricane Hordak, which was based off the 1986 variant of Hordak with a robotic arm that has 3 spinning weapon attachments. So Hordak looks cool here. Of course, it looks like Hordak. Nothing really changed about it except for the chest plate on him has this now vac metal gold, so that really stands out. You can see my reflection in there, so that's pretty nice. Still have the red Horde logo like bat design. Have the same Hordak head, so the mostly like yellowish white color here, especially on the head, around the eyes, mouth, red teeth in there, black everywhere else, especially going to the ears, with the nice color piece around his head. Get the gray arms going into the black gloves, gray legs into the black boots that have the Horde logos on them too. So just overall nice design. Like I said, it looks just like Hordak. They just switched out the chest plate to this vac metal. That looks really nice shiny gold color there, which is really cool. Now, movement-wise, the head will twist all the way around, and it can look down that far and up that far, so decent movements. Shoulders up to 90 and rotate all the way around. We get the single elbow joint to 90 with rotation. The wrist will twist around and flex back and forth. Then, of course, we get the twist around at the waist. The hips will come up that far and out to the side. Get the single knee joint back with rotation in it. Shin twist at the top of the boot, and the foot will flex back and forth and twist side to side. So the same standard MOTU movements we get all the time. You know, could be better if they added different joints and stuff, but decent for what they've got. But this Hordak comes with some extra accessories. So first we get an additional head, which is pretty cool. Now I don't really know what this is from or anything, but it looks cool. I love the spikes on the head. Of course, the ears there kind of soft, so flappy there. So with this head, we can switch out to see what it looks like, just a different looking Hordak here. So there's that head, which looks pretty cool. And, you know, like I said, don't know what that's from or anything, but just adds a little bit different design to it, which is cool. Then we get the weapon that's kind of like the main thing of this, which is the arm. Of course, it's the big robotic arm here. So we got to take the hand out and put this on it instead. So let's pop this right hand out. So there, it's got that piece on it. I'm not sure which way it needs to go or anything. I'll just kind of twist around there so we have our little switch on the bottom, so maybe work out a little more. And then we get different weapons we can switch out. So like in the picture on the box, it had the big bat wing like sword, I think it's supposed to be. So you just plug this in, and then there's a little gear here on the bottom, so you just easily twist that. And of course, just one smooth, easy twist, and it twists quite a long while. So there is that we can have. Of course, there's also bola, so a big like bola you could shoot at and maybe trap somebody. So again, just spin that around. Looks pretty cool. I love how easy it spins, especially like I said, just a little movement on that gear and it spins as much as it does. And this is a gripping claw, as it said, and it showed like a rock sitting in there, so it'd be cool if we got a rock accessory. But you can spin that around as well. So it looks pretty cool. Nice design for that. So I think for me, I'll probably just leave the blade just because it looks pretty cool. I like the thin blade there and how much it spins around. So that's pretty awesome. So you can choose the different weapons you want there for your Hordak. Now I just need to decide if I want to leave this head on, because like I said, I do like that design. I just missed the stuff around his head. Or if we want to go with the normal Hordak head, not exactly sure. But speaking of Hordak, like I said, pretty much the exact same figure reuse, just doesn't have the cape on his back. And then of course the vac metal chest plate is the only thing that's really switched out or different between the two there. So from our normal Hordak to this version here, which is cool. And like I said, I really like the spinning blade things that you can put on his hands. Nice fun play feature for Hordak. But like I said, just not sure which face I want to put on him now. And then we also have Despara, which is the captain of the evil horde, which was Princess Adora that was kidnapped by Hordak as an infant, but He-Man helped her discover her true identity as She-Ra. So it looks pretty cool here. Love the design. Of course, it's just pretty cool. We can put her face mask on her and kind of pretty much hide everything that it would be She-Ra at all, but looks good. So love that she has like the black around her eyes, her shorter haircut, so shorter hair on the side and a little bit longer up top and like swept to the side. So she would be sort of like standard She-Ra face there. And then we get her horde outfit, of course, since she's smaller and stuff, so real thin design with a lot of gray and black running through. So this definitely looks like what would be a more modern figure or take on her. And then we get the shoulder pads out to the side, a little bit of red logos down the chest there, gives some spots on the back here that hold some sword with a nice red cape that's got a nice texture to it, if you can see that there, and nice design how it's got like the cutouts there on the side and everything. So that's pretty cool. Then she has like skirting here come down her legs, and then the gray and black continue down to the boots there on her feet. So just overall a pretty nice design. Like I said, this is definitely a more modern figure design compared to the looking like the old retro 80s and stuff, but it still looks pretty cool for Despara. Now moon-wise, her head will twist around, maybe hard with the color there around her neck, but it'll twist around there, look down that far and look up that far. So yeah, not much movement. Shoulders up to 90 and rotate around. Get the single elbow joint that bends towards 90 with rotation. Wrist will twist all the way around, and this has the flex up and down hand. Then we just get the twist at the waist. The hips will come up that far and out to the side. Get the single knee joint that bends back with some rotation in it. Shin twist at the top of the boot, and then the foot will flex back and forth and twist side to side. So decent movements overall, pretty standard for the MOTU, like especially with She-Ra, Teela, Evil, and that sort of stuff have this similar body. But for accessories, like I said, we do get a mask to cover up to make her more Despara. So this looks much more like a Hordak mask with the same white mask, little spikes on the forehead with the black color around it as well to help hide her. So you can just slide this onto her face. So it just sits like that, so that makes it Despara there. So that's pretty cool. And then she comes with the swords. Of course, sword designs, we've seen this multiple times, just with a black handle, silver blades like it showed. There is the spots here on her back, so we can store these. Of course, they feel really big for her, so I feel it's kind of weird, but you can store those there. But let's go and just put them both into her hand. So there's Despara with the two swords. Like I said, they're really big for her, so it's hard to really get them posed up. So it may just be better just to hold them in her back, but she looks really cool there. And of course, as I said, this is She-Ra, so here we have our She-Ra figure to compare to. Of course, she looks much more like a Barbie and everything with this one, and this is supposed to be based off the old design, where like I said, this Despara is much more of a modern take on it and stuff, but just want to show the difference between She-Ra and Despara there. And like I said, really cool that we get her, a character that's been known about for years, but we've never gotten figures like this. So really cool to have Despara added to the collection. Well, there we have our two Mattel Creation exclusive MOTU Origins figures of Hurricane, Hordak, and Despara, both of the Evil Horde. So pretty cool figures overall. Like I said, Hordak's not necessary just because it's pretty much the same, just you want the vac metal chest plate and then this awesome spinning weapon on his arm is really the only thing that makes him different. But Despara is a new character added to our collection, so really like adding her, and I think she looks pretty cool with that design overall, so pretty happy with her. So let me know what you thought of these two figures down in the comments, and if you enjoyed my review, let me know with that like and hit the subscribe button to see more. But I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you all stay awesome out there, and I'll see you in our next review.